The Wilsons were eager to start fresh in a new home. When they found the beautiful old Victorian mansion on Raven Road, it seemed almost too good to be true. The price was unbelievably low for such a stately home. "Isn't it marvelous?" beamed Mom as they pulled up the winding driveway. "It's just so charming and roomy. This will be a perfect place to raise our family." Dad unlocked the heavy front door with the rusty key the agent had given him. It creaked open slowly, echoing through the cavernous front hall. They began lugging in boxes and furniture, excitedly picking their new bedrooms. Right away, things seemed a little odd. Doors they had closed would be open. Strange clanking sounds could be heard in the walls. And little Sophie insisted she saw a pale, wispy figure standing at the top of the stairs, though her parents dismissed it as imagination. That night, after pizza in their makeshift kitchen, the house began to stir. Young Billy woke to something tugging at his toes that was gone in a flash. Mom thought she heard weeping coming from behind the pantry door, but found nothing there. And heavy footsteps creaked down the hall, though Dad was sound asleep. Over the next few days, the family did their best to make the peculiar old home their own. But the supernatural occurrences escalated. Chilling breezes swept down empty hallways. Radios turned on full blast static in the middle of the night. And Billy woke screaming from a nightmare of a woman in Victorian dress, standing over his bed with eyes jet black. No matter how warmly they decorated or how snugly they made their beds, an icy cold presence seemed to follow them from room to room. Whispers echoed in the darkness and scratching noises clawed at the inside of the walls. Soon they began to dig into the history of the sprawling mansion. It had been owned for decades by the wealthy Van Buren family until one day they disappeared without a trace. Rumors said Mrs. Van Buren went mad and killed them all before vanishing forever. The Wilsons decided enough was enough. Dad packed up the car grimly as everyone gathered their things, glancing over their shoulders. As they drove down the winding road away from the cursed house, the clouds parted and the sun shone down. But behind them, the towering old mansion sat silently, waiting for its next victims. When the Wright family arrived at Hill House, they were captivated by its beauty. The sprawling Victorian mansion, set atop a hill overlooking a quaint town, seemed like a dream home for Charles, Sarah, and their 3 children. The real estate agent handed them the keys with a smile. "She's quite a grand old dame," he said. "I think you'll be very happy here." But as soon as the Wrights crossed the threshold, an uneasy feeling sunk into their guts. The entryway was ornate yet gloomy, with a musty scent in the air. Their footsteps echoed across the creaking wooden floors as they explored the first floor. Strange shapes in the molding almost appeared to watch them. That night, rapping noises and muffled banging awoke the family from their beds. Charles insisted it was just the old house settling, but Sarah felt a chill down her spine. The next day, more bizarre events transpired. Doors once shut were found ajar. Whispers floated through the halls when no one was there. Little Eliza saw a pale figure dash across the upstairs landing. At night, heavy footsteps tromped up and down the corridors. Ghastly faces appeared in mirrors only to vanish. Furniture slid across rooms untouched. The walls oozed a viscous green slime when no one was looking. Charles pored through records of the house's history, uncovering tales of suicides and mysterious deaths within its walls. Neighbors shared legends of vengeful spirits haunting all those who tried to stay. It seemed Hill House had been waiting for fresh victims. Sarah begged Charles to move, but he was adamant they stay. "It's all in your imagination," he decried. But when screams and shrieks woke them one midnight, even stalwart Charles had to admit Hill House had to be abandoned. The Wrights fled the mansion, lucky to escape with their lives and sanity intact. Though its halls now lie empty, locals whisper that Hill House remains cursed, thirsting for more lost souls to doom. Its sinister presence lurks on the hill, waiting, watching. When the Atwater family arrived at the creaky iron gates of Blackwood Manor, they gazed up at the imposing Gothic structure looming atop Widow's Peak. Ivy crawled up the weathered stones as ravens circled the towers, cawing ominously. Inside, the dusty grandeur of the manor was faded but still apparent. Gilded mirrors, marble busts, and heavy purple drapes lined the cavernous rooms. The aged wood groaned under the Atwaters' footsteps as they explored the first floor. That night, young Betsy clutched her blankets tightly, unable to sleep. The wind howled outside and tree branches tapped a ghostly rhythm on the glass. Then, the closet door began to rattle violently. Betsy shrieked as the door flew open, revealing the dark void swirling within. The next morning, the family gathered for breakfast, shaken. Windows and doors they had locked were mysteriously open. Whispering voices echoed from behind the walls. Portraits with hollow eyes seemed to follow as they walked by. Over the next few nights, the manor's haunted secrets emerged. Phantom specters drifted down the hallways. Faint sobs leaked from the library walls. Unseen hands pounded from inside the boarded-up attic. Dark apparitions hovered over beds, leaving inhabitants frozen in terror. Local townspeople recounted the tale of the last family who dwelled there. The deranged Lord Blackwood descended into madness, violently murdering his family in a crazed rage. For a century, the souls of the slain Blackwoods remained trapped, cursed to torment all who trespassed. On the sixth night, young Betsy went missing. Frantic, the Atwaters searched every inch of the house, finding only her doll lying at the bottom of the stairs. As the family called out Betsy's name, demonic laughter echoed back. The Atwaters fled in their carriages, racing from the wicked manor. But it is said on certain nights, Betsy's lonely cries can still be heard on the wind, warning others to stay away from the cursed mansion known as Blackwood Manor. The Carver family was eager for a fresh start when they found the charming old home on Oak Street. But as soon as they crossed the threshold into the dusty foyer, a cold chill crept down their spines. The realtor smiled and handed them the keys, but his eyes seemed to linger on them hungrily. That first night, screams awoke young Megan Carver from her sleep. Heart pounding, she peeked out into the hall where a shadowy figure prowled up the stairs, its gnarled hands scraping the banister. When she tried to tell her parents, they insisted it was just a bad dream. But the hauntings continued. Doors slammed shut violently in empty rooms. Scratches appeared on the inside of the closet walls. At night, unseen hands yanked blankets off sleeping children. One stormy evening, the power went out. Lightning illuminated a horrible, disfigured face peering through the window for just a moment before vanishing. Cackling laughter seeped from the walls. The scent of decay permeated the air. Research revealed the home's troubled past. The original owner, Wilhelm Kruger, was a deranged doctor who conducted evil experiments on kidnapped victims. Though never proven, locals attested he murdered his victims and buried their remains under the house. For decades, residents reported sightings of tortured spirits roaming the home at night. The Carver family decided to flee. But on their last night, young Megan went missing. Her parents searched desperately, finding only a tattered ribbon in the door of the boarded-up basement. As the house groaned and a distant scream rang out, the Carvers knew they'd never see their daughter again. Now the house on Oak Street sits empty, shunned by a fearful town. Yet some claim on stormy nights, the ghost of young Megan can still be glimpsed in the window, warning others to stay far away. For something evil still resides within the nightmare home on Oak Street. When the Davis family arrived at the crumbling old mansion known as Hill House, they were undeterred by the gloomy ambience. "It just needs some fixing up," proclaimed Father cheerfully as he unlocked the creaky front door. Inside, they found dusty furniture covered in white sheets and cobwebs hanging from the ceilings. The floorboards groaned under their feet as they explored the first floor. A strange, musty odor permeated the walls. That first night, they were awakened by the sounds of heavy footsteps tromping up the stairs. Mother hurried to check, but found nothing amiss. The next morning, young Sally noticed a mysterious brown sludge seeping from a crack in the wall. Father dismissed it as old house problems. But as the days went on, more chilling events transpired. Doors closed on their own, trapping family members inside rooms. Late at night, the sound of a child wailing echoed from the boarded-up attic above. Shadowy figures seemed to dart across the grounds when no one was looking. Digging into the history revealed rumors of gruesome murders and dark rituals once performed at Hill House by a deranged cult. Locals whispered that those who died there remained, seeking fresh souls to join their damned legion. Sally begged her parents to move, but Father refused to believe ghost stories. The hauntings persisted. Levitating objects, ghastly faces in windows, unseen hands grabbing ankles from under beds. One night, Sally saw the ghostly cult members surrounding her bed, beckoning her to join them. She screamed herself hoarse, but her parents found nothing. Finally, Father agreed to move when disembodied cries of "Get out!" rang through the house day and night. As the family drove away, Sally glimpsed the ghost cult watching them from the doorway, their leader grinning wickedly. Though empty now, Hill House's damned occupants still hunger for new souls foolish enough to enter their domain.